go to the stop store?
Hello everyone, this is Victoria from Victoria's Cantina. I am here today with the Hasbro Star Wars team with...
Hi guys, Patrick.
And...
Chris.
Patrick, Chris, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to
absolutely
hang out. We're talking toys, so that's kind of the cool thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, so I have a few questions regarding recent reveals, the Vintage Collection and the Black Series I would like to talk about. So first thing, in yesterday's reveals, the Black Series got a lot of Obi-Wan Kenobi love with the reveal of all the Inquisitors from the series. In Vintage Collection, only Reva has been announced. What will it take for more figures from Obi-Wan to receive the same level of attention in TVC?
Absolutely, yeah, no. So we were excited to get the figures out yesterday, I think, and we've had the opportunity to talk with a lot of fans here, and hearing about balancing the scales. I think the key for us is, and we have lots of conversations. Eric's the designer on Black Series, Emily on Vintage Collection. They bring a lot of insights into the fandom for the two different scales. I think with Vintage Collection, and happy to chat about this, but new media is certainly important, but there's also the original trilogy, right? There's Clone Wars is a favorite, and so I think we try to deliver the character selects that make sense for both of those fan bases. We've done a lot more original trilogy with the Vintage Collection recently than the Black Series, because we know those figures are important. A new Lobot, obviously a brand new Episode 5 Lando Calrissian, Emperor, etc. And so that accounts for some of that.
All right, sounds good. Second question. Fans are happy to see Hasbro finishing the 96 little by little. With regards to some of the figures, such as Endor Leia, Endor Han Solo, TIE Fighter Pilot, C-3PO, Tusken Raider, for example, only minor updates have been made to those figures. The collecting community feels that original 96 figures should be definitive, and these examples, being modestly updated sculpts from a decade or so ago in some cases, aren't quite definitive, and we really appreciate having those updates and having these figures back. Since many of these releases are either exclusives or refresh waves, would it possibly be a better strategy for Hasbro to hold off on some of these figures until the opportunity to make definitive versions of them presents itself?
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point. I mean, I think it's all part of the balance and mix of what's important and how do we get new stuff in when we can too. I mean, when we have an opportunity to deliver an original 96, we want to take that opportunity when we can, and we don't want to supersede something that might be more important, and I say more important, but I mean more relevant, I guess, with new entertainment. Because we need to get that in when we can too. We're blessed with so much Star Wars right now.
Lots of Star Wars.
We're not in the days of waiting 4 years for the next movie and having time to catch all that stuff. So now we have to pick and jump on opportunities when we can, and it's an exciting time to be able to do that. And anytime we get the chance to put one in, we want to do that. So.
All right.
And I think it's not mutually exclusive. Like Walmart, obviously very excited for the Vintage Original 96 program. We were able to get those figures out. We wouldn't have been able to otherwise, but there's nothing to say with that we can't update them in the future with a definitive version.
All right. Sounds good. All right, so the Vintage Collection community is a little bit on edge. We feel that many of the figures being released now are better than ever. And I mean, you can just pick a random figure from the last 6 months to a year, and they're astonishingly good. The articulation,
all Emily.
likenesses, detail, everything is incredible. However, I am seeing a lot of nervousness regarding plastic-free packaging. We understand the need to cut down on waste and protect the environment. The reality, though, is that the plastic TVC bubbles represent just a really small fraction of the total problem. Not to mention, most collectors recycle their packaging or they keep them carded anyway, so it doesn't really have an environmental effect. The Vintage Collection isn't just any other toy line. It's historically significant. It's culturally relevant. The Vintage Collection is the Vintage Collection because it's the Vintage Collection. And what we're afraid of is if the recipe gets changed, you end up with new coat. And then, can you assure us in any way that we shouldn't be so worried?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, so we've been talking with a lot of folks here, and it's been great to be at Celebration and actually being able to talk to fans in person again, having conversations like this. We're absolutely aware of how critical that is, and we've been hearing it online, and we're fans ourselves as well, and we know that history. Obviously, Hasbro announced, 3-4 years ago, the commitment to eliminate virtually all plastic in packaging by the end of 2022. And I will just say, like, I am proud to work for a company that's thinking about things beyond just the bottom line. And we can talk about kind of the relative impact, but it does, I do really appreciate that. We don't have anything to share today, if a change will happen in the future, what it would be. But as soon as we, make that decision, if there's going to be a change, we'll certainly let the community know.
Okay. And rest assured, I mean, we're fans too. We share the same concerns the fans do, so.
Right on, thank you. So we love that you are updating certain vintage collection troopers like the Stormtrooper, adding those rocker ankles, better than ever. Now this is the best one we've had in the scale. One trooper that is sorely in need of a new sculpt is the Clone Trooper. The original sculpt dates back to 2011, and you guys have been releasing the 501st, and then the new one that's coming out, the 337th, I think. And they look great. They still rely on that old sculpt. Is there any chance that could be updated so that we do get that definitive one on par with the current Stormtrooper figure? Yeah,
well, we're always looking for ways to update things in the right time to do that. So it'll happen eventually, I would say. But right now, I don't have anything for you. But yeah, patience.
It's all about balancing, and this is, it's those definitive updates, right? It's all about balancing those versus kind of the first question about the new figures from new media, new figures from classic media that we haven't done before. And so it's all about trying to determine what the community wants most and delivering it.
Right on, and I'll just note that the Snow Trooper and the Scout Trooper are also in the same boat. They need need updates. All right, so for newer collectors, there are no affordable Republic gunships on the market. They go brand new into the hundreds. The TVC one, $500 to $1,000. Given that this is the 40th anniversary of Attack of the Clones, what can we do to get the gunship back out there for newer collectors?
Well, I don't know. It's just a matter of the balance of all the offerings and where we want to go and what's more important for us. And agreed that there's a lot of possibilities and places to go. So it's one of many options that we look at. So we'll see what we can do.
All right, sounds good. So I think I'm almost to the end of my little list here that I put together.
Ask whatever you want.
Thank you. All right, so the petition myself and other influential members of the Star Wars collecting community created last year for the Tonica Sisters is at 1,500 signatures. And interestingly, Topps just announced some digital cards showcasing the Tonica Sisters, which is an interesting development because they haven't used those likenesses in a long time. So we're just curious if there are any updates regarding the Tonica Sisters and hashtag Time for Tonica. Have to throw that in there.
No updates at this point. We're absolutely aware of the petition, and those are things we take note of, right? We were aware of the campaign and the petition for the vintage collection in general from, I think, 2 years ago in 2020. Obviously, there was a petition and campaign for Antok Merrick's X-Wing. Yep. We're aware of the one for Velkin Tazari. So we absolutely, Emily's great about keeping a really close read on the community. We're definitely aware of the passion. They would be great updates to the line, and if things work out and the time is right, then we would be excited to see them come to the line.
All right, sounds good. And I like that you mentioned vote for Velkin. Really important one there.
Absolutely.
Totally. All right. The Black Series seems to be taking on more of an animated aesthetic. Yesterday's reveals of Aayla Secura and Mandalore Darth Maul are the latest examples of this. Can you speak to the reason Black Series seems to be going from more of a realistic interpretation to more of an animated one?
I don't know that we have. I mean, I feel like...
To me, I turn to you.
I feel like we're taking animated stuff and bringing it into a realistic interpretation of that. And sometimes there's a balance of how much animated versus how much realism we want to do. And sometimes it's just a way to differentiate it from other things and what speaks to that character's design in animation and differentiates it from other versions of that character. So there's not an intent to go more animated, but there's an intent to do the best interpretation of that character we can do.
Okay.
And sometimes that needle moves a little bit between more animated, more real.
All right.
But we do want to make a real version. It just might have more influence from
Animation.
some content than others.
Makes sense.
It is really cool now. We're seeing, like, I think of a character like Ahsoka, who we did, you know,
Right.
in both Vintage and Black series, the realistic interpretation of animation, and now we're seeing in live action, and so doing a screen accurate one and seeing the similarities is really cool and a testament to the team's work.
Well, and we've got a new Inquisitor
Yeah.
that's a live action interpretation of the animated one,
That
and
looks great, yeah.
he's different.
They all look great.
but he's amazing. So yeah,
Yeah. No, they all look fantastic.
yeah.
The Force Effects Elite lightsabers seem to be doing very well for Hasbro. You guys are churning them out a little bit more like clockwork, which is awesome. I collect them all.
Awesome.
However, one thing they don't yet have is the Flickering Blades. That is something customizers can add, and they've been adding that feature to sabers for years. Is that something you would consider adding to the Elite saber line?
Oh, absolutely. We're always looking for ways to improve and up the detail and more features on those. So it's definitely something we look at. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else you guys just want to say? Just to say it.
Well, I'll ask you. I mean, we revealed the HasLab yesterday. How, as an FX Elite consumer, have you had a chance to check it out?
I have had a chance to look at it. Yeah, it's exquisite.
Yeah, thank you. And it was super exciting to get to do that and to bring that to FX Elite consumer. So, in all those configurations on the thing, I think it's an amazing saber, and I'm excited for people to really see it in its full glory with all those different modes, the half and full and single and double bladed, all the new sounds, because it's all new sounds across the board for that thing. So we're really cool.
I would just say thank you to the community. Thank you for everyone who's come into the booth. We've really missed this the past 3 years. This is why we do what we do. Just being able to talk Star Wars and just seeing the gratitude and hearing the good feedback that'll help us to improve the line. So if you're at Celebration, definitely come on down. We'd love to chat with you, and just, thanks to everyone for helping us get through the last few years, and hopefully this is a return to normal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thanks to both of you for all you do, really. I mean, congrats on Celebration. I hope we see you guys at Comic-Con this year.
Hopefully. Sounds
All right.
good.
All right. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Chris.